And Don, Denise, and I are in the car, and it is about 20 minutes to 11, I suppose. And we're supposed to eat dinner down at Donna's today. And then Donna wanted maybe go to the zoo down there. And then tonight, Donna and her boyfriend Matt were taking us out for supper. And this was to celebrate my birthday. So we're spending the day down there. We never seem to get down there to really visit her or anything, and she is proud of her apartment, and she wants Don and I to really visit her now that she's partway settled down there. She and another girl share this apartment, Marna Hansen and Donna, and this morning Donna went to school together down in Springfield, and I guess Donna knew her before from camp and things, so they've known each other for quite a little while. So it's just a kind of a day of relaxation. We had our garage sale yesterday and the day before, Thursday, and we did pretty good. Not as good as we'd like to have done, but all total, I guess, between Jim's and Ines and us, we sold a little over $100 worth of stuff, and then we sold our bicycle for $50 besides. But it was worth it. It was a Swin bicycle. It was Donna's bicycle, and we're taking that and we are going to get Donna a different bike.
This works pretty good. You can give you kind of a running account as we drive along the highway here. Right now we're even with the National Guard convoy going north while we're going south. We just passed through Royalton here. The day is beautiful. The clouds are high. They're scattered. It's a regular old, well, kind of a cool summer day, you might say. So it looks like it's going to be pretty nice for our trip today. Marion neglected to say that bicycle had been Donna's, but I bought it from her last year when she got kind of hard up for money, and so now I've resold it. And I'm going to buy a men's bicycle. That was a girl's bike, and though I could ride it, I didn't really care too much for it. Something that I can ride back and forth to work when I feel in the mood, and be good exercise for me and save a little bit on gas the way the prices are going. If we have time today, I'd kind of like to drive down through the main street of Hopkins. I haven't been there for many, many years. Donna lives in Hopkins, but you never know it was Hopkins by looking at it. And then I'd like to drive by Impanger's old house if it's still there. It may not even be there the way the roads have changed. And then up to the church there in the house where we lived and around. Maybe even stop out and see Solon's for a minute or two. See the old community anyway, where we were back in 1938. You should have been around to help those women in their garage sale out there. Man, oh man, did they have a time. They have a bigger time than I do when I go deer hunting. They're a nickel and dime here and a quarter there and 50 cents here and 2 bits there. They really have a time. Yesterday morning, which was Friday, I got up at 6 in the morning. I met Bernie Winsenberg out at the airport at 6:30. He has a 4-plane, which is considerably bigger than what I've usually been flying in at late years here now. And he's been checking me out in it so that I can take a flight check with a flight instructor and be able to take something that big out and go someplace someday. I'd like to take some of our deer hunting crew and fly up north someday and look over our country up there. I've always wanted to see it from the air, see how the lakes are and the roads and trails and this and that and everything. Get a little idea about what the country looks like. When you're on the ground all the time, you don't really see things as it really is. It might even help keep a guy from getting lost someday, because we're lost half the time anyway, but it might help. Denise has a pair of baby coons here in the back seat with her. They're in a box there. They're real young. I guess their mother must have got killed. Maybe you could hear them making their racket back there if I put the mic down here. A racket back there if I put the mic down here close to them here. Just listen for a second. There, if you heard that, you know what kind of racket they're making back there. I guess they want their mama. Denise has been bottle feeding them, and they're getting along all right, but they kind of miss their mama too, I guess. Now we're just coming to Rice. You don't go through Rice like you used to. The road cuts to the east of it and goes around of it. Bypasses it completely, so there's no slowing down or anything here. That road we used to turn in Rice and go straight east towards Moron, that's been cut out here too. There is a stop and go that this works part of the time here on the main highway. You have to turn off it a little bit east and then go south about a half a mile and back east to get on that old road we used to go over towards Moron. Harry Nelson was up night before last. He sure looked kind of beat up and tired. Night before last, he sure looked kind of beat up and tired. He's had quite a siege of it down there with his wife. She was in such critical stage for so long there, 3 or 4 days anyway, and he didn't get too much sleep, and he's been sitting beside of her bed for about 12 or more hours a day, and even having to feed her because she hadn't been able to feed herself yet. She doesn't really have too good control of her arms yet. She takes a spoon, heads for her mouth, and she'll have to wind up putting it in her ear. But she's going to have some kind of therapy, but she's coming along as good or even better than they expected, so probably another week or so she'll be good enough that they can take her home, and then it'll just be a matter of time before she'll be back in condition again.
We are now passing right across this little river. I guess it's called Little Rock, and we just went across that. It's getting pretty out in here because they're really beginning to build this up around in here. They've got quite a few trailer homes on the hillside here, and then they've added on to them. Some are even these double in the road completely, and this is a complete two-way road from Little Falls straight on to Minneapolis, so no one-way at all traffic. I mean, no two-way. What do I mean? I mean that we go our way and they go their separate way. We each have our own things instead of both traffic going the same way on the same road. That's what I mean. Well, I left that last little bit for you. Papa enjoyed that confusion. That's confusion is confusion is confusion is confusion is confusion. Ha 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 ha. I'm not nuts. I'm only working at it. I'm getting there part ways. Ask Don. He'll tell you. He says I'm there all the way, not part way.
I got a trunk full of furniture for Donna here that's being loaned to her by the Dr. Seifert family. It's their son Matt that Donna goes with, and he's had it in his room at college, but now that college letting out for the summer, they're going to let Donna use it in her apartment down there until the Seifert family. It's their son Matt that Donna goes with, and he's had it in his room at college, but now that college letting out for the summer, they're going to let Donna use it in her apartment down there until he needs it next fall when he goes back to college. I imagine he'll be working somewhere in Minneapolis during the summer.
I don't know if I told you, but the night of the banquet, maybe I told you on that phone call, but the night of that mother-daughter banquet, Donna had written ahead, she had written this, well, she called it a fictional story, and she started out, she entitled it The Unknown Woman, and then at the end of it says she really is mother, but in there it mentioned she collects buttons and she collects dishes and everything. When she got about halfway through it, she kind of broke down, and then she finished reading it, and then at the end she presented it to me and came over and kissed me, and she made it on, like rough lumber, and then she put hinges on it, and then this poem in the inside is put on this wood, and it's kind of shellacked, Mother Day card, present, and everything all at once. And I thought she did a good job. She does a real good job at writing poetry. She's written poetry for several years now, and she's always given it away to her friends. So she doesn't have any collection of poems saved, but it would have been nice if she'd have kept a record and a copy of all the poems she's ever written, but she's never done this. But so I couldn't say how many poems exactly she's written, but I know she's written an awful lot of them, especially I think some to Matt. So this poem that she wrote to me, or whatever you want to call it, fictional story, she had taken and burnt the edges of the paper first, started to give it a kind of rustic look. She had burnt it, and then she must glue it on this wood, and then she kind of shellacks over it somehow on some stages. I don't know if this is what they call Mod Podging or what, but this is how she did it. So it's really something different to save and remember. And then she also had painted a picture like of a flower and vase on the outside of it. So she did quite a bit of different artwork and several farms on it. Ines and Jimmy Schultz have gotten a new hobby started. They take all kinds of odds and ends of old bottles and jars, and they use odds and ends of old saucers, baby jars, and old rose bowls, or anything they can get their hands on like that, and then they glue them together in different shapes and forms, and then they spray paint them, usually a flat black sort of like, and then sometimes they decorate them with flowers, or you could hand paint them. And then they, if they have candles, they put a candle in them, and they make them for big, tall candle holders. You can make them anywhere from 3, 4, 5 inches tall on up to several feet tall. She made one for her son-in-law. They don't smoke or anything, and they don't really believe in smoking, but the son-in-law smoked, and their daughter Terry wanted her mother to fix an ashtray. So one they had built up and put an ashtray at the top, made it into an ashtray, and another one they built kind of tall and had a big vase at the top, and Nancy one of the daughters, she just takes and throws like her keys, big candle, and put a big candle in it. So Ines and Jim want to make some, Jimmy, I want to make some up for the next time we have a garage sale. She did sell one at this sale, but she didn't get it in there till the second day. She got $1.50 on it. That's not too bad. You can go to a garage sale and pick up a box of dishes for real cheap, and then turn around and use a lot of these dishes in making these things, and you go like to dumps or places and find a lot of these dishes too. So maybe that gives you an idea, Pop, for a new type of artwork to work at.
Well, here we are. We're just coming to the Greystone College south of St. Cloud there. The Greystone College, of course, is the penitentiary, in case you don't know what I'm talking about. Looks the same as it always did, except you don't find any guards walking the walls or sitting up there anymore at all. I don't know what they do about it, but they aren't up there anymore. I haven't seen them in years. They're even talking about closing this one down and moving all the men in there to some other place in the state. So I don't know what will eventually happen here. It looks to me like all the men in there to some other place in the state. So I don't know what will eventually happen here. It looks to me like a awful nice setup to just close down. I don't know where they'd send everybody, because they're talking about everything that's supposed to be so crowded all over. It was real good to talk to you on the telephone last Tuesday there. You both sounded so natural, just almost like sitting in the living room talking with you, and you sounded strong and good, so that was encouragement. Last evening, right after supper, Bob Schultz and Jimmy and I went down to the river below the dam there. We took Bob's boat and we crossed the river over and got on the island, and then we took minnows and fished off of the shore there, out in the fast water and in the little eddies and around there. We caught 9 walleyes, and the 9 walleyes all together wouldn't make one good one. I don't think we had one that was any more than about a foot long at the most. But they're awful good eating, those little ones. So I didn't throw any of them back. I haven't had any fresh fish yet this spring, and so we saved them, taking 4 of them down to Donna and her girlfriend. It'll make them a meal, and then it leaves a good meal for Marion and I. Also, we caught 4 nice big rock bass, which I've given to Denise. It'll make her a good mess. Saved all the heads and everything that when we got it out, the fish were her dogs. So that was a fairly successful evening. If we hadn't been invited down to Minneapolis today, we'd probably be going fishing with Schultz's today, because they were headed out today. I guess Jim had planned on doing some fishing when he was up north at Hazel's place, so I hope he has good luck up there, because he always wants to go, but very rarely ever gets out. If I had a little time off like he does from time to time, I'd go over to the river and do a little fishing, because there's a lot of fish in this old Mississippi River there, but he doesn't seem to go fishing unless somebody will invite him along or take him or something or the other, so he doesn't get to do too much fishing there. Doing this and doing that and be able to record what we're doing, well, should be able to fill this up pretty easily. Traffic is quite heavy here today, but not so bad going down. Of course, when you've got a two-way highways here, well, nobody gets in your way or anything. If you aren't going fast enough to suit them, they just go by you, and you can do the same for them. Summertime, there's always a steady stream of traffic going up north on Fridays and Saturdays. And, of course, on Sunday evenings, you find a steady stream going south. It always keeps Little Falls so plugged up with the traffic having to cross the river bridge there. And it's just a mass all the time on weekends. So it's going to be a real relief when they get that new highway finished going around, and then won't have to worry with all that traffic. Denise is apparently sleeping in the back seat here, and her coons are now too, so I suppose that's good for both of them. Try to get her to talk a little bit on the tape from time to time, but again, so it's going to be a real relief when they get that new highway finished going around, and then won't have to worry with all that traffic. Denise is apparently sleeping in the back seat here, and her coons are now too, so I suppose that's good for both of them. Try to get her to talk a little bit on the tape from time to time, but she picks up the mic and looks at it, and it scares her speechless all the time. She can't say anything, so that you'll know why. There's nothing on there then. I don't think we ever told you, but that little female pup we had, we finally gave away. We got it to the point where we just couldn't take her aggravation any longer, even though she was cute. Put an ad in one of the papers there, a free ad, I think it was. Female dog to give away, and shoot, we had enough calls, we could have gave away a dozen dogs if we'd have had them. And this lady that did pick it up, she had 2 small children, and She was so anxious to get it, she took a taxi over, wouldn't even wait for her husband to come home with a car. So she's gone, and I think she had a good home by the looks of it. The peeps and fill in all the holes and get some grass growing there and get it smelling decent around there and looking clean for a change instead of always dirty and full of bones and manure and everything else. If I was out in the country someplace where I could have a dog and let him run loose, I'd get another one, but I'll never have another one as long as I live in town. Well, here we are at Clear Lake, south of St. Cloud. It's about 10 after 11. Maybe these names will mean something to you if you remember them. Don't do any slowing down here either. The town lays on the right-hand side, and we just go breezing right on, too. Big old gas truck in front of me just hit his brakes here and left a layer of tar on the road. I don't know what he did that for, because it didn't seem like he slowed down any, but he sure burned rubber there a little bit. Somebody in front of him must have started to do something for a second that kind of worried him. Also, one of the next towns down through here, of course, is Big Lake, and then Anoka, as you remember. Or Elk River, Big Lake, and then Anoka, as you remember. Or Elk River, I should say. The way we go now, we go down to Elk River, then there's a new highway on the south side of Elk River that goes west, number 101. Comes out just a little bit north of Osseo. And in Osseo, I cross the railroad tracks and take County Road 18, they call it, straight south, till I pick up Highway 7 west of Minneapolis, and then Donna lays right off of Highway 7 just a little bit. So you can real easily, without actually breaking speed limits anymore, you can go most any place you want to from Little Falls, anywhere in Minneapolis area, in less than 2 hours, with the highways the way they are. And I did say without breaking speed limits, so you can see how good it is to go down.
You're now even with an airport, and there are a lot of airplanes, and Don's straining his neck to look at all of them. He's got his eyes more out that way than on the road, so I have to tell him keep his eyes on the road. I was supposed to have to tell him keep his eyes on the road. I was supposed to work for Rosie Hammerbeck yesterday. She wanted me to work for her too, but I had told her I was going to have a garage sale for 2 days, and she knew it. Yet she called me yesterday afternoon and wanted me real bad. I couldn't hardly go off and leave Ines alone as Jim's were gone. They had come over and helped Thursday on the sale, and all 4 of us were around there. But on Friday, then, Jim was around in the morning, and then in the afternoon it was Ines and I all alone, and I couldn't just take off and leave Ines alone. I didn't think it was fair, and I had had all my plans made long before any of this. But I am supposed to help her next Thursday and Friday afternoon out there. There are places starting to get busy just before Memorial Day. Monday, I've got to catch up on all my own housework. I didn't get anything done this week. Now I've got to catch up on my ironing and some more washing. I did wash a few loads of clothes yesterday. So Monday, I want to try and get back into a sort of a system again of things. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, I work at the Coast to Coast. And then Thursday and Friday, ask for Rosie. So it doesn't give you much time to call your own. I'm glad to earn the extra money now because it'll help on the trip, and I want to. But it just, as far as getting anything done at home, then something has to slide, so that has to slide for a while. But I hope to get back to a sort of a schedule again. I said, it seems like I don't get anything done on a schedule like I used to. Everything seems to be so flexible, but maybe that's part of being older and part of being without the kids. I don't know, maybe our schedule seems, because when the kids were home, I always had certain days for certain things, and then I really wasn't working out at that time and stuff too more. When I worked anywhere, like for Peterson's, I took my kids with me and stuff like that. So, I don't know. It's either old age or can't just plain keep up with things. Oh, yes, out in our garden that Denise planted, we have radishes up and lettuce is coming up, and it looked like some of the beets are coming up and carrots. But I can't see any of the beans yet. Either she planted them awful deep, I can't understand. I can't see any of that stuff yet. My red ones, they've all toppled over. I'm not going to get anything out of them. I'm going to have to buy those. But I planted some sort of a yellow tomato that's about supposed to grow like a regular sized tomato, only instead of being red, it's yellow. Years ago, I used to plant those little yellow pear tomatoes for preserves, but we don't eat that much preserves or anything anymore, so I just wanted something different. I thought maybe this yellow might be a little lower in acid like those orange ones are. I don't know if it is or not. We'll see, but I have about a dozen or dozen and a half of those coming up in a pot, so one of these days I'll transplant them. And my cabbage, it didn't do too hot, but I might get a few things out of that. Plants are just going up, up, up. Maybe today down here at the cities I can look and buy myself a dozen or two tomato plants, because at home at Carlisle's they're 96 cents a dozen. I would get a discount for working out there, but even at 96 cents a dozen with a discount, I think maybe I could find them down here cheaper. Last year next to the coast there was some people from the country that have a nursery, and they come in and sell plants real cheap. I had planted peppers, but to my knowledge I don't know what happened. None of those things seem to come up. The seed must have been old, and I bought it this year.
Here we are passing through Becker, gaining on it mile after mile. Only about 50 miles left to Minneapolis at the most. Becker consists of a laundromat, a post office, a liquor joint, and a Gulf gas station. And I don't know, might be a house or two back in there someplace. Yeah, I guess there is. I should play you a game of license plate poker as all these cars go by me here. Looking at that one there, you would have lost that one right there. You'd owed me something, because there was nothing on there. There's a John Deere tractor out there plowing. Looks like he's got about 6 bottoms on there. You just wouldn't hardly believe what these new John Deere tractors, well, other tractors are like too. They've got fancy glassed-in cabs on them and air conditioning in them and TV in them. Some of them even got cassette players in them, and some of them even got their tractors. Well, other tractors are like too. They've got fancy glassed-in cabs on them and air conditioning in them and TV in them. Some of them even got cassette players in them, and some of them even got radios and so forth in them. Them farmers ride around there, and they're like they're sitting in the living room there. They're probably a little better than most of their living rooms. Of course, they're cheap, them tractors, too. I was looking at them down at the State Fair last year, and one of those nice ones cost you about $28,000. So, of course, they can afford it, some of them.
This morning, as we were getting ready to start on this trip, I told Don, leave our garage sale signs up in case somebody came, because my neighbor had a sale running yesterday and today. And I says, maybe they'll see her sign and then come over here to ours. And so help me, we got 2 customers this morning. I sold a nickel for Jim, 15 cents for myself, and $1.50 worth for Inez. I told Don, I bet if I'd have been home all day, left those signs up, as she got customers, we'd have got them over our place again if somebody'd come. But now we're hoping one of these times to take, as long as everything's marked and fixed up and we still got other things from everybody to add on, we thought we'd maybe try and switch a garage sale out to Jim's way a little later on, try and have one out there. And then after that was over, then a little later we'd switch one to Inez's and see if we couldn't work this and really get this stuff really gotten rid of. I'd sure like to get rid of it. And you can use the money too. It seems we've been talking and talking for a long time, and yet this tape only looks a little over halfway on one side. Boy, I'll tell you, these 30 minutes on each side take a time. I think I'd like to get some 40-minute tapes if we'd come across them. That wouldn't be too bad. But I can see what Nita says. Nita says she has a hard time talking and thinking of things to say. And then when she does write us a tape, then she won't write letters for a while because she gets everything on the tape.
In their last letter that Bruce and Nita wrote us, they mentioned that they can run, or rent campers for 4 people out the air base there. It's made available just for airmen only, and runs 4.5 a day is all for it. So we might, if we have the time while we're there, we might take one of them campers and go on up to Glacier Park up there for a couple of days. These campers are a fold-down tent type. Of course, they serve the purpose real good, and they're easy to pull. And we've never been to Glacier Park. It would make a nice trip for us. So we might just go on up there for a couple of days, and if Bruce can get off all right, see a little bit of the country, because I imagine if they should move out of there in the next year and a half or so, we'll probably never have any reason to go back out that way. Bruce had been out and bought some more fishing tackle, so I don't have to drag anything along with me. He's planning on taking me trout fishing there, which I'm looking forward to. I've never did any trout fishing, and I'd like to try it once and catch a nice big trout. Well, at last, there's a lot of houses built around the lake, of course. Town still looks pretty much the same. Well, we stopped here in Big Lake for just a little bit of time and put in a little bit of gas. Let them all run to the restroom. I got a couple cans of pop here and a handful of cashew nuts, and now we're on the way again, so. Well, we're really traveling along here. I took a couple buffering too because I did have a little headache. Maybe that'll kind of help clear it up before dinner. It seems like on days when I don't work that the schedule has changed to the point to where I get headaches if I'm not active like I usually am.
folks, here it is about 4:20, and Don just got in the car from taking a picture of me standing in front of the little high school or grade school he went to, I guess, in Hopkins here. We just got through being at the Target store and doing a little shopping, and before that we'd had dinner at Donna's, and the kids went canoeing. Matt, Donna, and Denise went canoeing, and Donna and I are just going to do a little roaming out here in Hopkins. We're going to drive out now and see Matt, Donna, and Denise went canoeing, and Donna and I are just going to do a little roaming out here in Hopkins. We're going to drive out now and see if we can see Aunt Maud's place. And then after Aunt Maud's, just drive around a little while, maybe see the Solons. I don't know if any of them are around. But I just thought I'd add a few lines now and keep us posted as we're going. So we're right in the middle of downtown Hopkins right now. We are right in front of Aunt Maud's house right now. It sits up in the hill. I guess that's it yet.
Gone. That's the second house now.
Oh, wait a minute. It is gone. Their house is moved, and it's another house up in there.
On their property,
and on their property is a new Cross of Glory Baptist Church. Yeah, Aunt Maud's house is gone. Parking lot for the Baptist church is where their house sits. Right next door to the old house you used to live in is a brand new Assembly of God church. And the house is between the cemetery and the old church, and to the left of your house is an Assembly of God church.
On the left, the east.
East, Don says. Boy, it sure has changed out in here. I haven't been here, I guess, since Aunt Maud was living. That's the last I was here, about the last year she was living, so it's been years. Now we're going to drive down on the little road right exactly in front of it. We were on the other main highway, and you couldn't stop too much. We were kind of poking, and the cars were going by so fast, but now we're going to kind of slowly drive by here. Now we're in front of the old Presbyterian church and the cemetery, and it's really nice looking in here. Shrubbery and everything kept up nice. There's an old weeping willow tree like in front of your little old white house here. Donna's going to take a picture of the old house and this new assembly by it, I guess. Well, Don turned around and used the money that we sold Donna's bike for to buy himself a plain bicycle. Her bicycle had been a Swin 3-speed, and he got himself thrown off of that a few times because he's used to foot brakes instead of these goofy hand brakes, so that's why we had sold it. Donna kind of wished we would have held on to it and eventually sold it back to her, but we had our money tied up in it, and Don wants to ride a bike once in a while. Sold it. Now he, today down here at the Target store, found himself a regular men's bicycle. It's a racer style, but it's a plain bicycle, no speed business to it. And it's just red and plain, so he in turn got that and a little bit of fishing equipment with the money, so he broke even now. There's a house with a whole great big long row of beautiful lilacs, and they're in bloom already too. Ours at home are still in the bud stage, but our plum trees are in bloom, and down here all the plum and lilacs and apples are in bloom. Ours are just starting, but they're a little slower. You know how it is. We're about a week or so behind Minneapolis and things, maybe sometimes 2 weeks. I guess we're headed on the road now to try and look up Solin's old place. Dear folks, we just left Mr. Solon, and we visited with him about, I guess a good 2 hours. He's young looking yet and spry. Man, I thought he was only in his 70s, and here he's 83 going on 84. And we just had a time visiting about everything in general. So Don took a picture of him now, so after we once get him developed it, and Don can tell you more about what they gabbed about later. His son Garrett and wife have lived in Tucson, he said, for about 3 years now. And their address is, I'll give you the whole name, Garrett H. Solon, 341 North Longfellow Avenue, Tucson, Arizona. And the zip code number is 85711. He is the son that spent time in Russia and traveling in all these different foreign countries. And now he's retired and living out in Tucson. He is the dean of men or dean of something down there at the university in Arizona right now. So maybe somehow you can get a hold of them and talk to them someday.
Here it is a little after 9:30 on Monday evening, and I thought I'd add a little bit to this now. I just came in from outside there where I'd cut some grass, watered a dog, went to a wedding shower on Lynn Keir. She's marrying a nephew of Bob Schultz's this coming Saturday. It'll be in the evening, so even though I work, I'll still be able to go to it. This couple's been going together for over 6 years, close to 7 years, so I think it's high time they got married or quit going together one way or the other. Started out this morning raining, looked like it was going to be an awful bad day, and that's the way the weather report actually was. But by noon it had cleared up and the sun come out nice and bright, and we had one of the most beautiful afternoons we've had in many years, I'd say. Everything's real beautiful out there and warm. It sure was nice being able to sit down and chat with Mr. Solon for a couple of hours there last Saturday. He looked just like he always looked, talked just like he always talked, and acted and everything else. Outside of looking a little bit older, I couldn't see much difference in him, and actually he didn't look too much older either. So, he certainly doesn't show his age. He looked just like he always looked, talked just like he always talked, and acted and everything else. Outside of looking a little bit older, I couldn't see much difference in him, and actually he didn't look too much older either. So, he certainly doesn't show his age. Him towards the lake in a home he built down there several years ago. So actually there's someone there close all the time to him. By the looks of the way things were sitting around there, I don't think that anything had been moved or dusted or anything since his wife passed away. But he sure had a pile of geographic magazines and papers and everything around his chair where he sat and read all the time. And he seemed to be real jolly and happy, and certainly was happy in the Lord, and talking about, he seemed to really be enjoying life, actually. He really has a stamp dealer going. One of his son-in-laws works for Bell Telephone, and all these Bell Telephone bills that come in are opened up by automatic machine of some nature or the other. Then they're baled. These envelopes are baled, and normally would be destroyed. But he picks them apparently by the hundreds of pounds, and he brings them to his mother-in-law and also out to Harvey there. And then Harvey goes through them and cuts all the commemorative stamps off, soaks them off, flattens them out, puts them in little piles and little boxes, and gives them back to his son-in-law. And his son-in-law sells them to the Harris Stamp Company for, well, depending on what kind of stamps they are, but anywhere between 30 and 60 cents a hundred. So it's more or less, I think, of a hobby with him, or something to do to pass the time than anything else, but he really enjoys it. He was telling about one time he found in one of the envelopes that had been cut, he found a $5,000 check that hadn't been taken out. Another time he found a $15,000 that had been cut. He found a $5,000 check that hadn't been taken out. Another time he found a $15 check. Both of them were returned, of course, but he gets a big bang out of that. I don't know if you were ever told or not, but Mrs. Solon actually died in church there up on the hill next to where our house was. They were sitting there together in church when she just slumped over, and that was it. She was older than he was, 5 or 6 years older than he was. I think he said she was 81 or 82, something like that, when she died. We'll have to try to get down there again someday and visit with him. I would have liked to went out and looked at his relics and everything that he had. He said he still has everything that he always did have, probably some more since I looked at him last. He keeps everything out in that little house out there on the driveway. I'd like to see what he has. Well, I had bought Donna's bicycle from her last year when she didn't need it anymore, and I sold it for $50 here the other day to neighbors across the street. And then these brakes that you have up on the handlebars, single speed instead of 3-speed like Donna's was. So I assembled it together tonight. It took me over an hour to put that thing together right. And then I took it out for a ride, and man, oh man, I could ride that thing much better than I could Donna's. There's no comparison at all. I think I'll start riding it more to work, and on days when Marion doesn't work anyway, because it goes so good, and it'll be so much cheaper than that dumb Oldsmobile I got there on gasoline. We got home there last Saturday night about 1:30 in the morning, and man, was I tired. Denise was tired, too. And then on Sunday, we went to Sunday school and church, of course. And then after church Sunday, we decided to take Grandpa and Grandma Schultz out for dinner because they'll be celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary while we're going to visit Nita. And they're kind of, touchy people anyway, and so we wanted to do something good for them there. So we took them out for dinner, and then we took a little, about an hour ride around the countryside and looking at the farms and everything. About an hour ride around the countryside and looking at the farms and everything, and really enjoyed it there Sunday afternoon. Came home and a little later in the afternoon there, well, towards 5 o'clock somewhere, Denise come in, and turned out that somebody had cut a hole in one of her fences there while she was gone on Saturday. And she thinks it was the guy that owns the farm there. He cut a hole to go through to do some plowing in another field, but he wouldn't admit it. But she said it looked like it somebody taking a plow through there. Well, anyway, all of her horses there, 6 of them had gotten out, and she'd spent practically all day rounding them up. She'd got 5 of them back. She couldn't find the 6th one at all. She'd been all over and couldn't find that 6th horse. So, while Marion went to an early meeting at church, I took Denise and took the airplane. We flew up there, and we flew around the area there. Oh, it must have been a half an hour or more where she lived, and about ready to give up. We couldn't spot it. When finally we did spot it standing on the edge of some trees, we couldn't spot it. When finally we did spot it standing on the edge of some trees, spotted a swishing of the tail, what we actually seen first, pinpointed it, and then I went back and dropped her off, and she went back and got the horse all right. But the horse had gone through some barbed wire somewhere and got cut up pretty bad. She couldn't figure that out, and I don't think she's still figured it out yet. I just wonder if they couldn't have been some... Well, she did find 2 stray dogs had been hanging around there. I just wonder if they couldn't have been chasing the horse or something or the other. Anyway, one of them stray dogs that had been hanging around there, and she kind of been befriending, killed 7... She had 7 small geese she'd bought, killed all 7 of them for her. And so that tipped it off. She took her gun and she shot them both and buried them, she said. So no more stray dogs. She's not going to allow them around the place, and that makes more sense anyway. Reverend Nelson was in to see me this afternoon, and he had some real good news. Seemed like when he went back on last Saturday, I guess it was, Friday anyway, one or the other, I forget now. Even then, after she got out, they'd want her to stay around town for a couple, 3 days so they could check her and make sure everything was going good. Well, anyway, when he got back, they found out that they'd told Mrs. Nelson that she could go home the following day. So he took her home. She's home now, spending most of the time in bed, but she's up and down, and she's getting so now she can feed her own self. And she's still quite weak yet, but she doesn't have a headache of any nature, and that's why they've been plaguing her so bad for so long now. Her neck is sore, and her shoulders are sore from the surgery, but no headaches, and she's feeling much better. She's eating better. So it looks like just a matter of time here, and she'll be back her old self before that tumor started to grow on her. I think I said to start with it here was Monday night. I'm all goofed up. This is actually Tuesday night. Last night was Monday night, and I went out to Civil Air Patrol till about 10, and Marion went over to Anna Schultz's and helped her make up some sort of candy, fancy little candies for her Grandpa and Grandma Schultz's 50th anniversary. Also helped Lynn and Rick make up candies for their wedding, so I guess I picked up Marion there, and we didn't get home till pretty near 11 there last night. We're both tucked out tonight. I hope she gets home early enough so we can settle down and get to bed a little earlier. Donna likes her job real fine down there, but she's having trouble with her girlfriend there that she's rooming with in this apartment. Looks like the only solution is going to be eventually for her to get her own apartment. This girl she's a nice enough girl, but she was raised in a home where she apparently didn't have to do anything at all. She doesn't seem to know anything about doing dishes or cooking meals, or just seems to be plumb ignorant when it comes to trying to keep a house clean or pick up clothes or anything. Just, if it wasn't for Donna, that place would be a hog pen all the time, and Donna's getting plumb sick of it. She has to scrub the toilet and do all the dusting and the cooking and the dishes and everything, and this girl really isn't really trying to use Donna in a way. She'd just be a hog pen all the time, and Donna's getting plumb sick of it. She has to scrub the toilet and do all the dusting and the cooking and the dishes and everything, and this girl really isn't really trying to use Donna in a way. She just seems to be ignorant. She don't seem to know what to do. I don't know. The only solution, I suppose, will be for Donna to get her own apartment down there, but it'll be more expensive for her to do that. But sometimes in the long run, I suppose the peace of mind is worth more than the saving of the money. If she stays here in this bank where she's working, and she seems to think she wants to stay there, she surely loves the place and likes the work and everything. The way they talk, that after she's been there a couple of months, they'll give her a boost in position. Keeps talking like she'd be actually secretary to the vice president there. Secretaries or stenographers or something. There seems to be a shortage of around Minneapolis, and she's had both shorthand and stenography and everything, and seems to understand it and know it, so maybe she'll land a pretty good job there yet. I wish we'd had more time down there. I'd like to have went out and seen if Bob Bragg was still alive, and I should get over and see Paul Groover, too. I haven't seen him in many, many years. It seems like things are so rushy all the time in this old world, you really don't get time to look up old friends and people you'd like to see and visit with them. Just too much going on all the time. Jim's are back from up at north visiting Hazel, but I haven't seen him yet to have a chance to talk to him or anything. Janet called tonight looking for him. She wanted to talk to him. Denise also called and said Janet had called her, and she was bawling her head off. Her poor little old kitty cat had got his leg hurt, and she didn't know if it was going to die or what. She was all upset over it, and so Denise was going to come into town and examine it. I talked to Janet a little later on the telephone, and I guess that Denise figured the cat just sprained his leg a little bit, and it'd be all right, so she was feeling really good. Funny how people get so excited over a little old animal. If my memory serves me right, Denise is due to go to St. Cloud tomorrow to meet with some sort of educational board there to find their talk like they will, and she thinks she can do it, so I hope she can. Denise kind of enjoyed that airplane ride there Sunday afternoon. Of course, I did things a little different this time. One other time when I took her up, which was, of course, her first time to be in a small aircraft, I didn't realize that she had any kind of fear of anything like that because she never seemed to be scared of anything. So I didn't fly exactly as smooth as I would otherwise. I did a little bit of monkey business, and it upset her stomach right away, and of course I'd take her back down then. But Sunday I says to her now, I says, we're going to drive down this runway just like we would with a car. So I opened the throttle and we went down the runway with the tail in the air about 60 miles an hour and just stayed right on the runway, didn't attempt to pull off or anything. I said, now see, we're going down here just like you would in a car, 60 miles an hour down the road or a highway. I said, you ever get in a bunch of traffic and wish you could just pull up in the air and go over the cars and get away from them? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, that's what we'll do now. We'll just pull up off the way. And I said, you ever get in a bunch of traffic and wish you could just pull up in the air and go over the cars and get away from them? And she said, yeah. And I said, well, that's what we'll do now. We'll just pull up off of the road here and get over anything that's underneath, and so we won't have to be in our way. So I just pulled it gently off of the runway up in the air, 40 or 50 feet. And I says, now if there was any cars there, we'd be just above them going right down in the way. And I just gently eased it up into the air a little higher and higher. And she started looking at the town. She forgot all about what she was doing, actually. Of course, she was so busy looking for that horse when we got up there on her place that I don't think she even thought about that she was in an airplane much. I come back down, and she says, you know, I enjoyed that. So maybe she'll have her fear of it over with now, and she'll be able to go some other time with me. I still can't get Marion up in that air, though. She's really chicken, I'll tell you. She's willing to go on these commercial airlines, but some reason or other she seems to think these small aircrafts just aren't for her. I feel much complaining on me, I'm not small enough I can find a field to land the thing in, and I'd like to see them big old jets find a field big enough to land in. They'd take an awful long one, I'll tell you. It'd take the whole state of North Dakota practically to sit down in. Well, I think I'll cut off here now and hit the sack. I can use a little extra sleep, and there's no telling what time Marion will get in here because she was kind of helping with that shower tonight, and she has to help clean up and so forth. That may be quite late before she gets in. So we'll try to finish this up tomorrow night or sometime this week so we can get it mailed out. Nighty-night.
Dear folks, here it is Wednesday morning, 7:30 a.m., and I'm about ready to go across town with Don pretty soon. We're both ready, just sitting on the couch here a few minutes resting before we go to work. And well, usually I sit down at work from 8 to 8:30 because I don't start work to 8:30, but I have to ride across with him. So I get up around here around 7:45 and get myself out of the bathroom before he does. So I got in there and got done, and now he's done, and we've got a few minutes to spare this morning, so I thought I'd do my talking on the tape now. Seems like I never get it done at night. We did pretty good talking on the tape going down to Hopkins, and then it seems like then there was a lull for a few days. I don't know, it seems like we get our splurts on these things. I guess it's the way the time works in, too, and fits in good. Last night I went to a shower at Kay Sherling's. It was in honor of Lynn Keir. She gets married this Saturday. She had a real nice shower. And her colors that she's using in her wedding are going to be purple and yellow. And so all around the house there were bouquets of lilacs in Kay's house. And this was real nice. They're in blossom now. Hers are. Mine aren't quite fully in blossom yet. But Kay had that, and then she had lavender sort of candles on the table. And then they had pansies in yellow and purple on the napkin, so everything worked out real pretty. And then we had sort of a light cheesecake dessert, and I was supposed to make one of them, but Ina Schultz made mine for me because the night before I helped her make mint candy till she'd make my dessert. And then we had a yellow punch last night there, made of pineapple and not orange juice, lemonade, and it was real good, and then a little bubble up in it. So that was a lunch we served to the ladies. They played a few games and then opened the presents, so they had a nice time. I think we had 25 all total. It looks a tiny cloudy out today. I don't know if it's going to rain or not. Yesterday it had been raining when we went to work, and the day before it rained. So Monday and Tuesday it was rainy days. But yesterday finally at noon, and so it cleared up and it was real nice. But Sunday was a beautiful day, and Saturday was nice when we were in the city. So we can't complain, but it seems like once in a while we get a couple rainy days in a row, and we need it for the sake of the garden. But boy, is our grass ever tall out there. I guess Don worked a little bit on it last night. We mailed off some pictures last night as I went across town, and on there we had a few pictures from Hopkins. So as they turn out, we might take them with us, and then from there we can mail them to you to look at, and then I don't suppose you want to keep them. Then you could probably send them back to us after you get through looking at them out there. I sure hope they all turned out okay. Monday I was around the house here all day in the daytime, and I tried to catch up on my ironing. I let that slip last week when we had that sale, so I had about 2 weeks ironing to catch up on. So I spent basically the whole day getting that caught up. And then in the evening after supper I went over to Inez's house, and we made 2 double batches of mints, these fancy kind where they're like I had from Nita's wedding, roses and leaves and bells and hearts and all this kind of stuff. Well, we made 1 double batch for Grandma Schultz's 50th anniversary coming up. Their Grandma and Grandpa had their 50th anniversary on the 2nd of June. And Doris Sherling and Dave have theirs on the same day, but since both of them were married same day, same year, they are celebrating on Sunday. Grandma and Grandpa are celebrating on Sunday. Grandma and Grandpa Schultz are celebrating on the Saturday and having a deal at church. And then the Sherlings kids are giving their folks, Dave and Doris, 50th celebration, but they're doing theirs at the Pine Edge Inn. We won't be here for either one of them, so we took Grandma and Grandpa Schultz out for dinner last Sunday. Since we won't be here to give them a gift or anything, we thought we'd rather treat them to a meal. So we did that, and they enjoyed that. We took them around for a little ride. And so for Doris and Dave, I got to get a card and either give them a little money or something. I haven't done anything yet, or a gift, I don't know. So anyhow, we made this double batch of mints for them, and then after we got through with that, then Lynn Keir came over and we made a double batch of mints for her wedding. So we must have made about 1,000 or more pieces of candy, and each one of these are individually made. You roll the little ball of dough and you dip it in sugar, and then you put it in this mold and then you press it out. So it takes time. It took us about 2 hours for each batch. So it was 11 o'clock or later when we got through, then come home and got to bed. Then I had to get up early the next morning for work. So I was so bushed yesterday morning for work. And today, after that shower last night, I don't feel very wonderful, but I suppose I'll get my energy back. And then tomorrow afternoon, Thursday afternoon, Friday afternoon, I'm supposed to help Rosie's out in the flowers. I'm trying to work what I can to help earn money for this trip.
Well, that was the cuckoo clock chiming out 10 o'clock. We were just watching a little bit of TV here. News are about due to come on, but I don't think I'm even going to wait up for that. I'm tired tonight and I'm going to go to bed. We were just watching a little bit of TV here. News are about due to come on, but I don't think I'm even going to wait up for that. I'm tired tonight and I'm going to go to bed. I have to work tomorrow. Marion doesn't have to work in the morning, but she has to go out to Hammerbeck's in the afternoon and work. Today was mostly cloudy and windy most of the day, not such a beautiful day we have had. And they keep flashing storm warnings for the southern part of the state tonight, so I guess the weather's acting up down that way worse than it has been here. They even mentioned possible tornadoes and thunderstorms and so forth in the southern part of the state. At least it's missing us up here. Been a very normal Wednesday for us today. Mary and I both worked all day, and then this evening she went to the choir practice, and then we both were at prayer meeting, and then came home watching a little TV. Now the news are coming on, so I'll cut off for tonight. Good night.
Dear folks, here it is 11:15, and it's Thursday night, and it's in this thing, and just really telling you lots of stuff and yakking away, and then I find out I just had the play button pushed and not the record. So then I got to do it all over again. Now I don't know if I'll be able to remember what I said. First off, I was answering your question about where I work. Well, it was a year ago, May 3rd, that I started working at the Coast to Coast store in town. And it is a big hardware store, and it sits where, you know, the old super little grocery used to be on Main Broadway there, across from Victor's on the corner, and across from Bars that way. Well, anyhow, it's on the corner there, and the old one burnt down, you know, 8-10 years ago or so, and then they rebuilt this newer one there. And so Mr. Larson, the one that started the boatworks in town that's a millionaire, well, he built this Coast to Coast for his son-in-law, Mr. Hedberg, and he ran it for about 5 years, I guess, and I don't know if they couldn't make a go of it or just got tired of it. 5 years, I guess, and I don't know if they couldn't make a go of it or just got tired of it. So then the people I work for now took it over, and they are the new managers. They work, you know, through the Coast Company, and their name is Vern and Jerry. Jerry is the woman. Dyer, D-Y-E-R. And I looked in my diary here, and I was working there a year ago. May 3rd is when I started, and I worked 3 days a week at the time. But now, we've had a boy quit, and they hired another man before Christmas, and now they hired a man to take this boy's place. So when at first, right after Christmas, there was a lull in there. It was kind of slow, so I was put down to 2 days a week. So that's what I work now, but my days are always rotating. Now this week it was Tuesday and Wednesday. No, yeah, Tuesday and Wednesday. Next week I'm going to be Wednesday and Thursday. So it keeps me busy. And then today I helped Rosie out at her house a little while, and then in the flowers. So I was out there from 12:30 to 5:30 or a little after. The night of the 1st, we're heading to Fargo, North Dakota. And then the next morning, we hope to take a plane from there and fly to the kids, because we figure it'll be just as cheap doing that, because by the time we put tires on the car again to make that long a trip, and we would have to have them, and the time involved, we wouldn't have much time to spend with the kids, and then expenses on the road with gas and food and lodging probably. So we figure we're just as cheap, and we can get a rate for Donna and I both going, so we're going to fly out to them. That's why I'm trying to work all I can extra to help save for this trip. We're going to try and finish this tape up tonight, and I don't think we got too far to go, and then we'll get it mailed off to you maybe tomorrow morning as Don goes to work. I don't go to work till in the afternoon, but he always tries to mail these in the morning. Tonight, Denise was by for a few minutes, a couple different times, and Jim and Dorothy came by, and he always tries to mail these in the morning. Tonight, Denise was by for a few minutes, a couple different times, and Jim and Dorothy came by and got their clothes out of the garage that they had here from the sale. Now, Inez's junk is out there yet, and my stuff. We're hoping maybe later on we're going to try and see if Jim will have a sale out to his place, and then we'll try and push a bunch of stuff out there. And then if it works okay, then we're going to try and take stuff to Inez's a little later after that, a few weeks later. And maybe we'll eventually get rid of some of this clothing and stuff we've collected around here. When Donna moved out for good this time, and Nita was home last time, I asked them what they wanted and what they didn't want, so I'm trying to get these things thinned out. Oh, yes, it rained all day today, so it sure was a terrible day. We were hoping to get the lawn mowed, and I'll tell you, it's getting real tall out there. Don got just a little bit done the other night, but boy, by the time we get again, it's going to be like a hayfield out there. Here Don is now. He's down on the floor next to me. We're both squatted like a bunch of Indians.
She's the Indian. I'm something different.
He's a chief.
She maybe thinks that was just a little bit of cutting the lawn out there, but if she did it, she'd have thought it was a lot.
I've done a lot.
If I'm lucky, maybe it'll keep raining all week, and I won't have to cut the grass all week.
Yeah, he thinks I'm...
Well, there hasn't much new happened since last night. I worked all day today, and Marion loafed most of the day as usual. Well, anyway, she didn't have to go to work uptown on the coast to coast anyway. Donna gets off tomorrow night from her work about 9 o'clock, and she doesn't have to be back to work till Tuesday morning, but she hasn't got a way figured out how to get up here yet, so it'll probably be sometime Saturday before she makes it, because she'll probably wind up having to take a bus. On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old cross where the dearest and best till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a cross, rugged cross. I will ever be true, its shame and reproach gladly bear. Then he'll call me someday to my home far away, where his glories forever I'll share. So I cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. I will cling to the old rugged cross and for a cross. When the trumpet of the Lord shall sound and time shall be no more, and the morning breaks eternal, bright and fair, when the saved of earth shall gather over on the other shore, and the roll is called up yonder, I'll be there. When the roll is called up yonder, 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 I'll be there. On that bright and cloudless morning when the dead in Christ shall rise, and the glory of his resurrection share, when his chosen ones shall gather to their home beyond the skies, and the roll up yonder, I'll be there. When the roll is called up yonder, 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 I'll be there. Let us labor for the Master from the dawn till setting sun. Let us talk of all his wondrous love and care. Then when all of life is over and our work on earth is done, and the roll is called up yonder, I'll be there. When the roll is called up yonder, 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 I'll be there, yonder I'll be there. What a fellowship, what a joy divine, leaning on the everlasting arms. What a blessedness, what a peace is mine, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning, leaning, leaning on the everlasting arms. Oh, how sweet to walk in this pilgrim way, leaning on the everlasting arms. Oh, how bright the path grows from day, bright the path grows from day to day, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning, leaning, leaning on the everlasting arms. What have I to dread? What have I to fear?
leaning on the everlasting arms. I have blessed peace with my Lord so near, leaning on the everlasting arms. Leaning, leaning, safe and secure from all alarms. Leaning, leaning, leaning on the everlasting arms.
Well, there we go. We're getting this tape filled up too, like you get yours filled up. Well, I see it's coming down pretty good there. We wanted to get a little singing in here, you know, kind of practice up so we'll be real good for Sunday. And so we thought we'd send you a little bit along. I hope you can understand it, and hope the tune isn't too far off so that makes it sound